Let's check out 3 brand new records from 3 of my favorite labels in 2025: Penrose Records, Brewerytown Records, and Colemine Records. As I said, all of these arrived in February, and one of them officially just released on February 28th, and I actually have a promo of that one, but I also have a splatter edition coming in too, and we'll get into more of that as we go. And there are more and more people signing up for the channel every day, which I am extremely grateful for. So no, when I'm thinking about making these videos, I'm literally thinking about like the 10 people that signed up to the channel yesterday or subscribed to the channel yesterday. So if you want to see more stuff like interview type stuff, or if you want to see more reviews on specific products or things like that, please let me know in the comments below as to what kind of stuff you'd like to see from me, because I don't always want to come across as like, hey, you should just buy this thing, or hey, you should just check this thing out. But a lot of the times, I really want to just share this music with you, especially when it comes to new music. When it comes to new music, I definitely want you to go out there and support these bands in any way that you can, buying their merchandise, or going and seeing them live, or going and buying their music, or even just streaming their music, which is a big thing that we're going to talk about actually in this video, because streaming a lot of these artists can really help them a lot in their endeavors, especially some of the ones you're going to see here, and you get some kind of extras as we're going to see here with the streaming stuff too. Now, as we said, all of these records have just dropped recently within like, I think February or January of 2025. They're all officially listed with 2025 release dates on Discogs, so let's put it that way. And I'm very, very excited about all of them, and I really hope that all 3 of these labels continue to put out more records in the future. Also, it seems like I always miss the opportunity to make videos about some of my favorite labels when they come out with stuff. So I'm really trying to make a point this year to get stuff out whenever new records come out from new labels that I'm super excited about. And as you're going to see here with some of this music, it is definitely worth checking out, and it's worth your time. The first one we're going to talk about here comes from probably what is my favorite record label, Daptone Records. Although now they are actually known as the Daptone Recording Company, which is more like of an umbrella thing because there are so many little imprints that they have out there. And this new record actually specifically comes from their newest imprint, which is Penrose Records, which is just absolutely captured my fascination at the moment. Now we're talking about the Altons here. This is Heartache in Room 14, and this is the newest record that they just came out with. However, I first heard about them from this record, which is In the Meantime on Mango Hill Records, and they have a little bit of a different lineup here. And if you ever get a chance to go check this record out or get this record, it's actually pretty valuable at this point, which I was not aware of until I started looking up some information on Discogs. But I wasn't sure because I did see that, like, as you can see here, there's a couple different people pictured here, but I think the 2 middle people are what are left over from the original lineup. And some of these people actually cross over between this group and The Sinceres, which is another group on Colemine Records. And also, I think some of them work in with The Hearttones as well, which is on Big Crown Records. So definitely check out any of the stuff from any of these labels: Mango Hill, Big Crown Records, Colemine, any of this stuff that we're going to be talking about here. This is the newest record that just came out from the Altons on, I believe it came out on Valentine's Day, February 14th of 2025. This is Heartache in Room 14, and they put out some really awesome extras with these releases, including like you can get this cool little keychain, which is supposed to be from Room 14, and other labels have done similar things like this with hotel keychains and stuff. I think this is the first one that's ever come out from Penrose Records, so that's pretty cool. They also put out a single along with this record too, and what's really great is the B-side of this single is not on this record. So if you want to get an extra record from them, you can get a random colored. Mine was orange, but I do know that they do have other colors out there, and it's very cool for that. What's really awesome is they released this record with 2 covers, basically one for the Daptone edition and one for the Penrose edition. So this does come out with 2 different numbers. There's a Daptone numbering and a Penrose numbering, which I think is pretty cool, but I will say I wish they would just come out with more Daptone records and more Penrose records. That's my only complaint, is I wish they would just have more instead of having these dual numbers, because I just want more from each of these labels. The Daptone version is a black cover, and I know that they have other different color variants of the vinyl as well, and those color variants also come with different labels. This is the Penrose official or Daptone official release with this alternate cover along with this cool milky blue, cloudy blue splatter that they have. And this one also has the Penrose orange label on it as well. So my goal with all of these is to get the Daptone black edition with the blue Daptone label, and then the color variation that they have for Penrose officially. I might also get the black vinyl of the Penrose also, but just know that they come out with all these different variations. The indie color variants are usually out there pretty well circulated, but these exclusives from the labels are usually pressed in about 200 pressings, and they are very, very limited. So what's really great is these covers are fantastic. These are really nice jackets. They definitely go for the aesthetics of Stax records on the back of them, with usually they're black and white on the back of these records, and then they'll have like the Daptone or the Penrose logo up here. As I was mentioning, this is a newer lineup for the Altons. I think they added a new drummer slash percussionist. Her name is Caitlin Moss, and she's really, really fantastic on this record. She plays a lot of like marimba and vibes and other percussion on this, but they also have some people that come in from the Hearttones and I think the Sinceres. I could be getting them mixed up there, but all those folks in that Southern California scene are really awesome, like working together with each other. And it lists all of the musicians here. But what I really love on the back of this record is that it straight up says, recorded to 8 tracks at Penrose Records in Riverside, California. Recording engineer Anthony Massino, assistant tape op Michael Rodriguez, mastering engineer, mixing engineer Gabriel Roth. I can't stress it enough, people. If you want to hear authentic soul music that is recorded to tape, you need to go and check out Penrose Records. You need to go and check out all the stuff that these guys are doing. This record, I cannot get off of my turntable. It might be my favorite record for all of 2025. I mean, even though it just came out in February. My favorite track on this record is actually on the B-side called Your Light. It actually has additional vocals on it from Brian Gazzo and Christian Elzar Mirez. I'm getting these names totally wrong at all. But I will say, I mean, it is my favorite track on the record, and it is so good. There's so many tracks on this that are extremely slow, but have such really good percussion and really good, like, when I say percussion, I'm talking like vibes and bells and other things that you don't normally hear. And with the way that Gabriel Roth is just able to capture the reverb sound and just the authentic sound of these musicians, it is just fantastic. And these records are pressed fantastic as well. I've always been a huge fan of Daptone Records, and I buy everything that they come out with. And I want to talk about everything that they come out with on this channel, but I always mess up and miss out when they come out with new stuff, as I did with some of their releases last year. Like, I don't even think I talked about the second The Sacred Souls record, but here we are with the Altons, and I'm going to go see them live in March when they're coming to Philadelphia. So you should definitely go support them as well and go stream their music as well. The next one I want to talk about here is a new single from Brewerytown Records. This is Meet the Ebonys. Now, you've probably heard of the Ebonys from Philadelphia International Records. They're a very awesome soul group that came out in the 70s. However, this is a lost track that was found along with the David Bowie tapes that we talked about previously on this channel. So if you haven't seen any of that video, go check out the video that we made about those David Bowie tapes. There's going to be more stuff coming about that. And what's really awesome is there's a lot more stuff in those boxes, including things like this. This is the first single to ever get released or recorded from the Ebonys. Now, first off, this reissue is really great, and what's awesome is Max is so good about getting back with the original writers and producers of these records to make sure that they're well represented when these things get out there. So this is all like officially licensed. However, when he puts them out with Brewerytown Records, he first puts them out with a limited edition version, which are these ones, which have a really awesome picture sleeve that is only limited to these first 200 copies, as well as the color version, which is this really cool purple color with the white label that's listed with DJ copy and not for sale. And then he also releases them after the first 200 in normal black copies with like an orange label, or he tries to make the labels very like close to the authentics that were released from back in the day. So if you want any of these 200, you got to go and get them quickly because there's only 200 available and they'll never get pressed again. And I'm telling you, these things are going to be super treasures in the future. Some of them already are. Some of the previous ones that he released, I think he has a Barbara Mason one that I wasn't able to get my hands on, but he has a couple other ones that are still out there on Brewerytown Records, and I'll have the link in the description so you can go check out the label. But what's really great too is to go and stream this on like Apple Music or Spotify or something like that, because that really, really helps out him. As well as there's a third track from this little release that is not on the 45s here. So if you go and you stream it, you actually get 3 tracks from this instead of the original. As I mentioned, Max is extremely good about getting in with the original people who own these things. And he's also extremely good about getting all of the history and all of the information about this. So we're going to talk a lot in the future about this with Max to get actually like more, I want to talk to him and actually see if I can see the master tapes and stuff like that. However, the write-up for this basically just says, 50 years later, after a seemingly endless effort by Raymond Waterhouse to relive some of that late 60s glory from bands like Waterhouse, Live a Little, Prophet, The Four Accents, the Ebonys original reel-to-reel masters from the Avis label sessions have been found and remastered and sound as good today as they did back in 1969. In that original session for Ray at Sigma Sound Studios with Joe Tarsha doing the mix, there were 3 songs done in total, all of which will finally see a proper release on a 7-inch 45 for the first time in half a decade. That is just absolutely incredible. And the more I hang out with Max, the more I'm learning about Philadelphia soul music. And I've basically only bought Philadelphia soul or soul records in general in this year. And I've been trying to just keep it to that, like keeping it to like soul and funk stuff from the Philadelphia scene or just anything from that era. And it's just incredible to learn about all of this stuff and to find out more of this information with him. So if you want to support Brewerytown Records, definitely go and stream this on Apple or Spotify, and definitely go and buy this one. There are still some of these limited copies out there. And then also, like I said, you can still get the black version once these 200 sell out too. But either way, I would definitely go and try and get this so you can get the awesome picture sleeve to come with. What's really great too is he has these very cool paper sleeves that are like kind of like circular paper sleeves. I mean, I know that you've probably seen these before, but I think it's a nice little touch with his stuff. Max definitely knows what he's doing when it comes to getting records pressed. These things sound fantastic as well, so you're not wasting your time or your money by supporting Brewerytown Records. And finally, again, I get these promo records from Colemine and Karma Chief whenever they come out with new stuff. And I could not be more humbled to be a part of that and to, back in the day, you would get promo records from for DJs or for radio stations and stuff like that. And this is kind of like the modern equivalent of that. And so I am absolutely humbled that Colemine Records would want to even have me be a part and be able to show their stuff early. I did get this before the official release date on February 28th, so I've had about a week to sit with this record, and it is absolutely amazing. This is Okonski entrance music, and this is the second record from the trio with Aaron Frazier on drums, Michael Isvara Ish Montgomery on bass, and Steve Okonski on piano. And I gotta say, this is a treasure that we are getting these records from Colemine and from this group, because these guys, I feel like, are filling a niche for me that I used to always say this, why don't people produce records or try to attempt to make records like our favorite Blue Note records or old Bill Evans records of the time and things like that? And that is exactly what this is. This is modern jazz, but it's not extremely difficult or too progressive in my opinion in that way. It's just, it has grooves to it. Sometimes there are backbeat grooves. Sometimes there's some really great brushwork by Aaron Frazier, and the acoustic piano on this sounds fantastic. And they're doing an amazing job of recording these records. Like I said, this is the second one from this group. The first one was called Magnolia, and it came out in 2023. Just like Daptone Records and a lot of these indie labels, they release these in limited edition, like official versions. So the official variant version for Colemine for this is a splatter edition, which is clear with splatter vinyl, which I did pick up, but I didn't get for this video, so I don't have it yet to show on this video. But they also have other indie variants as well, and then they have, of course, the black vinyl. What's really cool about this promo edition is that they have just a complete black label on it. I'm not sure if the regular release is going to have a black label like this, but I love that this promo version just has a dead black label with no information on it. Because it's funny, like I thought about it when I was trying to sit down to listen to it for the first time, and I was like, oh, well, should I, look back and see like what songs are what? And I was like, you know what? That's not even how this music should even be consumed. Like, you just put it on and listen to it from start to finish. And that is exactly how you should listen to it. Also, I absolutely love this album cover. I know that it seems just kind of simple, but I love what Colemine is starting to do with some of their like album covers and the looks that they're going for. The next one they have coming out with Surefire Soul Ensemble looks exactly like a CTI record with like CTI label and stuff like that. So I see what you're doing, Colemine, and it's awesome. But again, they have fantastic jackets on this. I love that the back is super simplistic and it just has, the Colemine logo with like no information on it. And it's just very minimal and it goes right along with the sound of this record. So if you're into any kind of jazz stuff, you're definitely going to like this. If you're into like funkier stuff, but you're kind of borderline like wanting to get into jazz, you're absolutely going to like Okonski, and you should go out and get Magnolia as well. And again, go and stream all of this stuff because it totally helps these artists when you go and stream their records. Obviously, it helps them a lot more when you can go and see them live or when you can go and buy their stuff directly like this with vinyl and things like that. So again, I love these promo write-ups that they give you when they send out these promo editions. These are basically what they would send to a record store that was, stocking all of this stuff, because it has the official barcodes and things like that down here to know how to sell their stuff. But what's really cool is that these are not extremely exclusive. Like, you can find most of these promo editions on Discogs for a lot of their records. I've actually bought a couple of them, and they're actually pretty cheap as well. So I'm pretty sure you're getting like an early run off of the record press on these. So you're kind of getting like, a really good copy of these if you're getting these promo editions, if you find those. But again, you're also getting a really quality edition if you get the regular copies also. So reading some of the write-up on this, we have for fans of John Carroll Kirby, Pharoah Saunders, Bill Evans, Misha Panfilov, and Bad Plus, who I'm not sure about Misha Panfilov, but again, that's exactly how I find out about new artists. So I'm going to go look that person up and then try to listen to their music. After nearly 2 years, Okonski returns with Entrance Music, an album that finds the trio at the height of their improvisational prowess and celebrating the spontaneous and meditative. On the heels of their debut Magnolia, pianist and leader Steve Okonski has reconvened longtime musical collaborators from Duran Jones and the Indications bandmate Aaron Frazier, who also has his own awesome solo work as well that we've talked about on this channel, and bassist Michael Isvara Ish Montgomery for another session in the spirit of artists like the Bad Plus, Gerald Clayton, and the Breathing Effect. Again, I don't think I've ever heard of Gerald Clayton or the Breathing Effect too. I got to go check them out. Ultimately, Entrance Music serves as an invitation to early hours where songs linger in the doorway, announcing their presence before returning to the air in a meticulous drift into the next. Again, the best way I could describe this stuff and the best way I would describe this record, or the vibe that I think they're going for here, is it's an attempt to recreate that feel of like, 60s awesome jazz music that we really, really love and that we're really, really into. I mean, every time Bill Evans comes out with a new record on Record Store Day, everyone's out there going to get it. So why not go and get something like this that is kind of in the mode of that, but from a new musician who's alive today that you can support today, with a label that you can support today, with music that was recorded to tape and is pressed on analog. I mean, like, we want all analog stuff all the time, right? All of these records that I've been showing you today are all from master tapes, all to analog vinyl, and that is what we should be doing more often. However, you should go and stream this stuff too, because again, it really helps out a lot of these artists when you stream their music on services like Spotify and Apple Music and things like that. I wasn't even aware of how much it really does help them, but obviously, why not? I mean, that's where we're all going today, so you got to go stream their stuff. As I mentioned here, I'm trying to get more of these indie label stuff out there, so you're going to be seeing more of this stuff on the channel. Whenever Daptone or Big Crown Records or Colemine Records or Brewerytown Records, whenever any of these labels come out with new stuff, you're going to hear about it on this channel, because I'm going to be buying these records. So I'm going to make a point to talk about these before I even talk about other things that I get, which I do have other stuff here that I've gotten. I got some of the Rhino Reserve stuff in. If you're interested in hearing about any of that stuff, please let me know in the comments what stuff you'd like to hear about. I really want to get more of a dialogue going with a lot of the viewers here to see what you really like, so that I can make videos more for that. I kind of find myself getting lost sometimes about what videos to make, and I just want to hear about what you're interested in and what you want to hear more of. I really try to listen to and promote more of like soul music, funk music, jazz music, reggae music, things like that that are usually not on the beaten path for this kind of stuff. I mean, I love rock music, it's really great, but we need to be talking about more independent labels in 2025 to get more music out there for people. Don't get me wrong, because I've just been buying a bunch of stuff from the 70s too, and from the 60s as well, but this stuff is like all built right on the foundation of that stuff. And I have learned so much about past artists from getting into music from Daptone Records and from Colemine Records and from Brewerytown Records, and it just, the well is never ending. So if you like this stuff, you're probably gonna like some other things on the channel, like these videos here. Go check those out today, and we'll see you on the next one.